Yeah,
Hey,
hey man, that felt so good to hear that, the intro
I
and
know,
the
right?
whole nine. It was
Welcome
good. It was
back.
real good. It just grabbed me without me even trying, man. Hello, 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 and welcome to Perspective. And so the question would be, what is perspective about? And what is our platform and our mission? And it can be found right there in the name, Perspective. This is a safe place, a safe tree, if you will. It is a place that we can discuss all varieties and different types of topics in a mature manner without too much backlash. So, share what you think, your feelings, your opinions, your perspectives, your um, what else would you say, Doc? Your lived experiences, if you will. Because what we find out is many times those things don't align with each other, but it doesn't mean that you're correct. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It doesn't mean the other person is correct or the other person is wrong. It simply means that our perspectives, opinions, our lived experiences are different. And when we can look at our differences and have mature conversations about them, it actually brings us closer together, and it makes for a better community, makes for a better world. And that is what we aim to do here on Perspective. I am Eric Butler, aka Cullinan 8, because I'm the biggest diamond ever found on land, aka the intellect, because you see that right there on the name, and then aka the Atlantic, because I'm cold, deep, and choppy, and ain't nothing nobody can do about it. So I have a background in talent acquisition. So I've talked to quite a few people over the last couple of decades. This has led me into an opportunity to do career counseling, which kind of leads into counseling itself. Just to help people improve their circumstances and their mindsets as they move throughout this life we have. It has offered me the opportunity to move into community service. So I sit on the advisory board of the Empower series, which is a financial literacy nonprofit that I work with. And we just really try to help people to not just survive, but to thrive in every area of their lives. And so that has also led me to here. Sitting with my illustrious co host to try to help people and share our ideas and thoughts and lead people into that same space to where they're not just surviving, but they're thriving. And with that being said, I'm going to slide to the side, move out of the way, and allow my unmatched co host to introduce themselves. And I will do that now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We are so excited that you decided to join us. Before I introduce myself, please, if you are in the room, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a whole other friend that Perspective is on so that we can get into it and we can have wonderful conversations. I am Latoya the therapist, aka Chef Jeff's wife, aka them kids' mama. I am a licensed professional counselor, author, speaker, and I also have an audio only podcast called Say More About That. It is on all the streaming platforms. It's literally everywhere: Spotify, Apple, Podbean, Audible, Amazon, everywhere. It's called Say More About That. And it's really just mental health moments. I get on there and I talk for about 15 minutes and I just discussed mental health, relationships, wellness, taking care of yourself, goal setting, all the things. I would love to have you there. And I am so excited for tonight. Ironically enough, somebody else. Oh, wait, let me do my disclaimer. So let me
I
do
was
the
for to
disclaimer.
grab it. I was like, hold up, Doc. Wait a
Let me
minute.
rewind. Let me do the disclaimer. So I am a therapist, not your therapist, unless we have paperwork and a payment plan in place. Eric and I will be speaking from our lived experiences, education, and our perspective. We are not talking about our personal situation unless we say this is personally happening to me now. Okay. Nobody called us before the show and told us your business. If it resonates, take it. If it don't, come back next week. We might hit you.
Mhm.
Um, I'm really excited about tonight's topic because, ironically enough, someone else just had me on a podcast and we kind of talked about something similar. So, shout out to Sean Heineman with the Brave Hearts. It's scary to remarry. Shout out to him. And we will be talking about conversations you must have before you get married.
Mm.
So I'm gonna let you go first, E, because you got a little bit more experience than me. I only been married this whole one time, you know.
Wait a
So
minute. That's kind of, I felt like I was pushed out into the street and had to dodge the buses and
no, 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 no.
the
I'm only talking about things you have shared on the show. So,
okay.
was one conversation? Let me pose the question: what is one conversation you wish you had had before you got married?
Um, it would have been one conversation,
Just
but
one.
I think it would have engulfed several subjects. Now,
Just
for
pick
me,
one subject. We got a
just
while. Just pick
well,
one.
well, well. Here's the elements. It will have 5 parts to it, but the main thing is that we have the ability to have effective communication,
Okay.
really talk about what their communication style is, how they best communicate. They may need to, maybe need to, hey, write down your issues. This is how I receive things better, and to talk about how we will communicate, how we will handle disagreements, differences, if you will, and that would be the main conversation.
So it sounds like you're saying, "Oh wait, we have comments. Hold on, let's get into this before I get going, because this is my bag right here.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
It says, hey, Ben Sutter the third.
Hello,
Uh,
sir.
yeah, he says you can support BS3 Network by sending stars. Stars help us earn money to continue building the network, and thank you. And if you don't notice that BSN3, that's the network we're on. So Ben Sutter the third puts the BSN3 in the BS3 network. So we appreciate his support, his leadership, and all that he does, so we can be here with you this evening. Thank you, Ben. All right, Mr. Jeff Gilliard, aka Chef Jeff, aka the therapist husband, aka that salmon Philly
Oh my god.
genius. Hey, it changed my life. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, Jeff says, welcome to the comments. Yes, he'll be strolling around there keeping it live. So we have a good time. He said, what's one conversation do you think you should have had before you got married? That definitely would have been one. And there's elements of
Okay, so it's just me. Um, so what is okay. I think that couples before they get married, they need to talk about finances, they need to talk about communication, as Eric said, and they need to talk about
yeah,
sex for sure.
yeah. That
Everybody has to be on the same page.
how long? I don't know how to take. How long I've been off? Was it just for a
It
glitch?
just like popped off, popped on.
Yeah, I don't know. It just
Um,
said something went wrong. So I'm glad I was able to get back in. But
yeah.
yeah, and I kind of have a list, and we'll dig through it throughout the show. Um, the effective communication, definitely one. And then I'd say 1A is that there's alignment in your beliefs and value system. You want to make sure you talk about that. So what
Mhm.
are your values and your beliefs? And I'm not talking about from a religious standpoint. I'm talking about what are your values and the beliefs? How do you handle certain circumstances throughout life? The next, I think I would definitely dig into that would be, I say, most poignant, and I'm trying to list them in levels of importance, is one that if you have the alignment in your beliefs and values, are they trustworthy? Now, I know that's a difficult one because it's not something you can just say, oh, yeah, I can be trusted. I think that comes over time. And so that's why these processes need to take some time. Moving too fast is exactly what it is. It's moving too fast. You don't buy a car fast. You don't buy a home fast. You don't make major investments quickly, and neither should you do this with the idea of being married or even in a committed or long-term relationship. So trustworthiness. The next one is self-awareness. You need to be the person needs to be self-aware. If they hadn't demonstrated that, you need to talk about, hey, do you know what your good, your bad, and your ugly is, and be honest about it with yourself. And that way you can be transparent, not just being honest, but being transparent, that might be a show in itself, because there's a difference between being honest and a difference between being transparent. And there's some elements to that. Um, and you definitely need to talk about your levels of libido. It needs to be, I call it a two. It needs to be I think a one or two plus factor on each end. So for example, if you're a five and they're a seven, or if you're a five, you can be with someone who's maybe a three, or you can be with someone who's a seven. I think you can. It's a two qualifier in that. But if it's outside of that, I think you're going to run into some issues. So those are the top elements that I think need to be incorporated in that conversation.
What do you think the biggest relationship killer is?
The biggest relationship killer, let's say money.
I agree. So in my experience working with couples, it's usually money and sex.
Yep. See,
People cheat. I mean, like, so there are deal breakers like domestic violence, cheating, your mama got a key to our house and she doing too much, stuff like that. But the biggest relationship killer that I've seen is typically money and sex and the lack of either.
the lack of either. And it goes in layers, and Doc redirect me. When they say money, money provides a certain level of security.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
women want to be secure.
everybody wants their basic needs provided for at minimum.
Right.
And when you don't have money, it's like living in a constant state of anxiety,
Hmm.
fear, and stress. And who loves that? Not anyone who has any sense, is
Right.
what I would say.
I agree with you. I think that, and also not having conversations about the money, right? Because somebody could really be trying, but if you don't know or have a complete understanding of what their finances are, resentment builds. And so I think going back to what you said earlier about effective communication, making sure to have a conversation about the things that you think are important, because what's important to one may not be important to the other. And so when we're having conversations before marriage, I mean, all that's included. And then I think these types of conversations have to continue to be had, because if you got married when you were in your 20s, things that you valued or things that you think are important aren't as important in your 40s. Other things are. And so I think that these are continual conversations and not necessarily like a one of.
Yes, yes. Continue. I mean, because that's a process of growing together. Um, which I'm going to ask you some questions about that, because I want to know what those caveats or differences may be on that. Jeff Gilliard says, "Do you have a bad temper? Do you have a shopping issue? Do you
Do you
like to
like to
fight?"
fight?
And then he also says another relationship killer is boundaries with family. That boy, he dropped the bomb on him. He
I
dropped the bomb on
agree. I agree. Sometimes I think families get in the way. And what's wild is you don't know your family's a problem until you bring in somebody new. Because you
him.
and your family have been operating in your ecosystem doing the things like this is how we do. We don't do that because she crazy, or she just get upset, or we don't say that because he's gonna do this, or don't cook this because they're allergic to this. You just know this because you grew up here, right? Enter in somebody new and they like, what is this?
Yeah, you'll find out things about your family that you didn't even know. I didn't know they felt that way.
Right.
I didn't know you talk like that. I didn't know you act like that. It'll
Mhm.
get wild. It can get wild.
I think it's important to. I saw a quote on the internet. It said, "Don't let your family of origin destroy the family that you create." And I was like, "Oh, that's good." Because your family of origin is like your parents, your siblings, people you grow up with. But then the family you create, that's your family, right? Like your
Yeah.
partner, your children, and you can't let your family of origin come in between that. And I thought that was really good, because I think a lot of times, especially in our culture, like we have this matriarchal, don't check big mama, let her do
Man.
whatever.
Right.
Sometimes big mama need to be checked
Yeah.
politely, respectfully, but
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
checked. But still
Yeah.
checked.
And I say, do that, the respectfully part, that applies to everyone, but
Mhm.
check you must do.
Yeah,
check
you
you
have
must do.
to.
And then understanding that the involvement of your own relationship, your own family that you're building does not have to mirror whatever the ecosystem look like
Right.
with your origin family. And
Right.
if
And
they
I
really love
yeah.
you, I'm sorry, go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, I think sometimes they struggle with that because it's like, oh no, I didn't raise you like this, I raised you like that. But it's also,
Mm.
my education raised me, my experiences raised me. When I left the house and I saw how other people did it, that raised me. My goals raised me. You know what I mean? Like as you get exposed to other things because you don't know what you don't know.
Yes, because your perspectives, your opinions, and your
Right.
lived experiences may be different than what your
Mhm.
origin family may have experienced. And just to understand, like if you're a grandparent or a parent, understanding that the next generation are going to be exposed to different things, are going to have a different access to a different level and even different knowledge altogether, and that is going to shape the way that they view things or they approach
Right.
things. And you have to be and your job is to raise them to be thinkers,
Right.
to have a certain to set boundaries with the rest of the world, and don't get upset when they start setting boundaries that yeah, you run into one like, wait a minute, what is this? I didn't
Mhm.
understand that. And
Mhm.
if it's not detrimental to them or their personal selves or anything like that, then that's something you got to accept. And then sometimes you got to accept it if it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the beauty of being an adult is like, who gonna check me? An adult on your own, not an adult still living at my house because I'm still gonna check you because you live at my house. But like the beauty of being an adult where you're on your own and you are self-sustained, you get to decide what those boundaries are. You get to decide like, oh, okay, you're not respecting this. I'm out. I'm about to go do something else.
And you said a key thing. If I'm gonna say it this way: if I have, if I pay, I have say. If I have to pay, then I have say. And if you don't
Hello.
want me to have a say,
Don't
then
ask me to
don't
pay.
ask me to pay. Period. Point blank. So if I'm having to fund anything, then my opinion better matter in that case. Otherwise, things get cut off. That's just how it is. Because what I'm not going to do is fund. I'm not going to fund mistakes, bad decisions, and I can't fund anyone who's not going to take my advice
Right.
when I'm paying for that because I'm not going to be keep paying for your mistakes and missteps.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
agree with that.
yeah. And so as you and that goes along with when you decide to get married or you decide to join yourself with someone else. Y'all go shape it out for yourself. And if y'all want to make bad financial decisions, if you didn't want to have a conversation first, you don't want to take my advice to say, hey man, make sure that they, y'all are aligned in your beliefs and your values. And your beliefs and values can come into now we're talking about family, like okay, if something happens, do you move your elderly parents in with you? Understand if your spouse operates that way. They're like, nah man, I would put my they we got it set up, they got a retirement home to go to, and no, my house will stay my house for my core family and things of that nature. Doesn't make them a bad person, just makes them different. You know what I mean? Or
Mhm.
they may not have parents, or they weren't close to their parents like you were. And so y'all
Mhm.
have to pay attention to those things and have those conversations. That's why effective communication is the number one element you need to talk about. Like because we got to be, how do we have difficult conversations? Because there's no way you're going to agree on everything. Just not going to happen. If you think it is, it's a lie. Lies, lies, lies.
I always say if we agree on everything, somebody lying.
Somebody lying. Somebody's
Everything,
lying.
like it don't matter how, like we could be equally yoked, we could came from the same neighborhood, like
It's
whatever, but
something. It's
something
gonna
we
be
are going
something.
to disagree on something. If not, somebody being fake, somebody lying.
Somebody lying. And then I don't think you can have a quality relationship when everybody can't be transparent and really be authentically themselves.
I agree with that. I think
Yeah.
that transparency and authenticity, for that matter, is very important because we are choosing every day to be in this relationship. I want to make sure that I'm choosing with all the information. Like, don't just give me like a little piece. I want all
Yeah.
the information so I can make an informed decision.
I want to make it, yeah, an informed decision. I love that. I
Right.
love that right there. Cause it's like and you want to give people the option to say, yeah, this is not for me. That is, and most people would think that is, I don't want to be rejected. No, I want to be rejected if
I
what
do.
who I am and what I am is not really in line with you. I go ahead and reject me. That's not a bad thing, man. That's a favor for because what you don't want to do is tie your life, tie your finances, tie your direction. Because anybody you're with is going to influence you one way or the other. And so you don't want to be tied to someone that you come down, a year, 2 years, 3 years later, and be like, they are walking in a totally different direction. That is that's for a futile. That's a futile thing to try to fix and work on. Maybe you can if you go hit up say more about that audio podcast on all of the platforms, or if you get some money and book some time
Book
with
a
Latoya,
session.
yeah, with Latoya the therapist, then you'll be all right. Mr. J. Gilliard says transparency is key. It's the key. It's the ring that the keys are on. It's the lock. It's the door. It's the whole shebang. He also says honesty as well.
Agree. Gotta be honest. And I like the concept of radical honesty, like being honest even when it hurts, when it's ugly, when it's gonna cause an argument, because the truth has a way of like seeping out,
Anything
coming
done it,
up
man. Anything done in the dark gonna come to the light
every
eventually.
time, every time, like, and just let people make their choice. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because
yeah.
because here's the thing. This is what, and I tell my couples this all the time, like, we are doing the work. We are in here learning to forgive. We are in here learning to move forward. We are in here learning. And then 6 months from now, after all this work, the truth gonna come out and y'all gonna come back to me and we're gonna start over. Somebody's not gonna stay. Do you know how
Wait, dog,
hard it is to
dog, why you
forgive?
make that face? You say, and we gonna start over? Like that's what y'all
Because
think is gonna happen?
like no, because the person who's doing the forgiving, like that is a job. Like that is work. Like, right?
Ah,
Like trusting you, letting their guard down again, being vulnerable with you, like
mm.
allowing you to see them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's work. So 6 to 8 months of that, we're back in our happy place. And then here come the truth.
And here come
I
another
don't know what you
thing,
want me to
and
do.
another.
I'm
Yeah,
a
you only
I'm
get
an
like two.
amazing therapist, but I'm not
Man,
Jesus.
she said
So I'm not Allah. I'm not Buddha. I'm not Brother Rock. I'm
none
not
of
a
that.
miracle worker. My children broke my magic wand. Like, I've done
Ah,
my part. You didn't do
ah.
yours.
See, they spill all of my magic dust. It ain't no more left
It's
on that one.
gone. It is
It ain't no
gone.
more left on that one. That's
Yeah.
true. Now, um, Mr. J. Gilliard said, he said transparency is key and
Mhm.
honesty as well. Doc, I think those two are different.
Speak on it.
I can't I don't take credit for this. Of course, this is, through reading and conversations with other really intelligent individuals. They talked about honesty. Honesty is, you know, telling people, you're being honest, but transparency is like telling the things that, like, honesty is answering the things that I ask you, basically. If I ask you, yeah, you'll tell me the truth. That's being honest. But transparency is telling me the things that I don't know to ask, but I do need to know anyway.
Which is wild because it's a lot of people out there that think you don't need to know. That's why you got to be careful who you get in
And it's
relationships with.
and it's going to let me lean in. It is going to come out.
It is every
And it's
time.
going to come out in the most inopportune time. It's going to come out at the peak of the joy and the peace, and just about to transition into a space that you never thought was possible. Let me make sure I'm in here. That you never thought was possible. It's going to be at the most critical, joyous moment, and then boom. So go ahead and let that out in the beginning. I'm just
Yeah,
telling
and
you
you
that.
know how like on all those black movies, like right before the person gets it together, they die. Or like
Oh,
right before they get it together, the cops
oh,
come in.
man.
So like think about like Boys in the Hood. Like right when Ricky died, he got his acceptance letter, his
Right.
test scores and all that,
He had
right?
just passed the ACT. I think he
So
didn't
if
take
you
that.
watched the Biggie one with Notori as Lil
He was
Kim,
just getting there.
he was
Yeah,
just figuring it
man.
out. Boom, he died. That like that's what that bomb drop is. Like, we are here, we are healed, we about to go to the next level, we are on a upswing, and here's the truth that you should have told me 6-8 months ago.
Setback, setback, setback.
Set off, because I ain't just, some
Yeah,
people could
yeah, that
say,
come. Yeah, you right.
but
You right. The comeback sometimes when you do it that way, the comeback now it's you have to go a whole nother route. It's a whole new thing. You will not be able
yeah,
to recover
I'd be
whatever that
like,
was.
okay, so this is where I'm going to refer you out,
Ah, I knew
because
I wasn't gonna say nothing.
I did my work. Sis forgave you, bro forgave you. Y'all was together. Y'all was happy. I told you to be honest. We had a whole honesty exercise. We did all the things. You weren't honest. I can't do nothing
See,
for you.
I'm gonna invoke that. You should have been transparent. Go on expose, man. I call it. I drag things into the light. Have the hard conversation.
Every
That's
time.
you have to go. I call it this. You have to, if you want to have a quality, let's have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that you have to do before marriage. You have to go through the pain that heals the real pain. You really need to talk about your traumas, your fears. Man, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what makes me shaky about you. And this is what you should be paying attention about me because I'm still working on A, B, or C and really do the work together. And you can have something beautiful, especially if you go to say more about that on audio podcasts on all of the platforms, or you tune into Perspective, I would say most definitely, and definitely if you book a session with Latoya the therapist. And y'all think I'm just really plugging her stuff, but I'm telling you what I know. Not what I think, not I'm telling you what I know. And you have to be open about doing those things if you really want to have a quality marriage or a quality relationship or
Mm-hmm.
build toward that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think transparency is key, because you don't know what you don't know. So tell me what I need to know. Tell me, you're not exhibiting any signs of this. Why would I ask this question? So let me know.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Answering, telling me the things that I don't, telling me the things that I don't even know to ask about. That's
Mm-hmm.
that. I loved it when I heard that. Mr. J. Gill, you said book a session first. Book a session first. Book a session first. He would know definitely. And Doc, so you have these two dynamics of marriage, and I mean it happens at all different periods of times. What would you say are the biggest differences or the things to take into consideration? Because those that get married early, because we have people who've got married right out of high school, maybe in their college years, and then they grew. Some that have been very successful, but some that get into that, that 7 to 10, 7 to 10 year period, and it's like it goes awry. People end up growing apart. Then you have those sections or those groups of marriages where people kind of live their life, went through some divorces, took a hiatus, and then they get married later in life and start bonding their lives together. Some of those go well, some of those don't as well. But so, what do you think are the nuances on the things to consider? Do you think there are different questions to ask for the young group, those who get married earlier, and then is there a certain things that you want to ask later, or is it like these questions are universal
I
across the
think the
board?
questions are universal. I think the nuances are different. So the questions of like finances, that you need to ask that young, old, middle age, geriatric. You need to know where the money coming from, because this is America and we have to live, right?
True.
So to that, the nuance would be at a younger age. I ain't got it, you ain't got it. We trying to go
So
get it.
so how we gonna get it? How
At
we
an
gonna get it?
older
Yeah.
age, the nuance is more so like, I have this, you have this. What does it look like to go forward? What are your goals for your money? Are we investing in businesses, stocks, both, housing? Like, what are we doing? So the nuances are different, but the question about the money is still the same. And so that's
Okay.
what I think about the basis of things too. I think when you're older, the more likelihood that you're going to have a blended family starts to increase. And so making sure to talk about, like, what does that look like? How old are the children? What's discipline like? what's my role as a step bonus parent, whatever the words are that you use. I think those kind of conversations, but you have those conversations when you're young too, because I mean I had my baby young, so I don't, I think
Mhm.
I think the general what we need to know is the same. I think the nuances are different. And I think where people mess up is they don't have those conversations continually. So you get married young, y'all start now, y'all ain't got nothing, y'all ain't got no babies, y'all just together. Well, one person feels like they missed out because they've been married for so long. They start getting an itch. They start dressing a little different. They start doing things a little different. And so it's like we need to keep having conversations about what your needs are, what your desires are, what who's influencing you, because what is this, right? Same thing for older couples, but like different. So one person may be like, okay, I'm settled. I'm trying to be a homebody. I ain't doing this no more. The other person was like, yeah, I'm still trying to go out once a month. What's good? What we doing? Having those conversations continually so that everybody is aligned and on the same page is what's
Right.
the most important.
So do you think, like, let's kind of bring it to our current stage, because there's a lot of do you run into, I guess, circumstances where maybe couples are having struggles because one wants to travel and one wants to kind of be settled?
Yeah.
Because I see that happening, and I'll put it out there. My opinion is, for some reason, in this current climate, women want to travel all over the place. They want to go. They want
Yeah.
to do. I'm not going to say men don't want to travel, but not in the same breath or with the same frequency, and definitely not for the same reasons and purposes. Um, but definitely redirect me if you've seen or heard of um, a countering idea on that.
No, that's what it is. Women like to go. Women want to see. Women want to do, and
But they
men.
want to show too.
So
Like
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that, but
they
I also don't like I
you
as I've
haven't,
gotten old, no, because
Doc.
as I've gotten older, the people that I hang around, the people that tend to seek me out for counseling, the people that I'm surrounded by, they have gotten older. So the people who are traveling for the sake of an Instagram picture, they don't typically see Latoya the therapist. They see somebody
Okay,
else,
I
right?
got you.
So
I
no, I
got you.
haven't seen that. Am
I
I
got you.
aware that that happens? Absolutely.
I got you.
But
I
for
got
me,
you.
it's more like I've been thugging it out my whole life. Like, I want to catch a flight. I want a break. I want to go sit on the beach. It has nothing to do with a show. It's just, I feel like I want new experiences. And so instead of spending my money on XYZ, I'm going to spend it on an experience.
Okay. And I don't knock it. I mean, I don't knock it. But I think that, you have to talk about those things. Mr. Jagilia said women equal 11 trips a month.
I'm so done with him.
Wait, what the one before that say? I don't think we saw that.
Oh,
There's a
I missed
couple
it.
more. It says men equal 1 or 2 trips a year, and then women equal 11 trips a month. Accurate.
Yeah.
Accurate. Accurate.
What if?
Hey, that's so funny, but it be so real. And then you know what? I'm like, you want to travel? I'm okay. But the little caveat is that it seems like if the woman is in a relationship, she wants the man to go, and she wants it, and you better like it and happy. You better be happy.
You don't ruin my
Um,
trip. Like, we out of town. Like, shut up.
yeah, I don't think I could ruin the trip, but it's like, you know, but those conversations need to happen, because I think you shouldn't stop someone if that's what they want to do. They want to have experiences. They need to be with someone who would enjoy having those experiences
I
as well.
agree.
And it could be alignment all over the place until that one spot.
Yeah.
And so I'll pose the question, and we both can respond. So if you, let's say, everything is aligned, the finances are aligned, communication seems to be aligned, um, values, beliefs, but in that area, one wants to go and show, and one wants to just chill and be real. I'm just trying. I like rhyming. Anyway, is that would you say that is a non-negotiable? Should they move forward or no?
I would say no, just because it's fine today. because today you're focused on all the things that we have in common.
Hmm.
6, 7, 10 years from now, when you ain't took no trip, and a trip is what you desire for show, for growth, for experiences, for whatever.
For
In
whatever.
10 years, you have not had one trip, you are going to be resentful. You can only hide resentment so
Mm,
long. You can
mm.
only hide that you're not giving me what I need for so long. Humans are going to get their needs met. And so I would ask the question, how important is the travel amongst all the other things? Today, you're saying it's not important, but let's go 10 years from now with not now trip. How important is it?
Yeah, I think it is. And to answer the question, I agree with you, Doc. I think it is a non-negotiable. I had an experience of that. This was a few years back. Um, was dating someone, and the chemistry was there. A lot of alignment there, and I'll give kudos to them. Well, I'll say kudos to us both because I was very transparent. Even though I could have easily said, "Yeah, traveling is cool." Like I'm not against it, but I painted an honest picture of, yeah, traveling is not something that I've done. I've done a lot of it throughout my life, but it's not an important item on my agenda of what I wanted of what I want my future to look like. And I think on theirs, it was like, man, I'd be open to, man, not having a central location and just live traveling. And I want to work
So
hard,
y'all was
get
not aligned.
no, we weren't. And it was, I mean, it was some good chemistry there. And a lot of alignment in beliefs and values, but that little caveat, and I think we both, as disappointed as we both were, um, understood, and I give kudos to them to this day, and just been like, okay, they understood that was not going to be, yeah, that ain't the right thing to do. And no, we didn't remain friends, nothing like that, because I was like, man, I'm not looking for no friends. You either gonna be the one or the none, and it, the none is what it was. So,
I feel you.
um, but so I did have a personal experience on an issue like that, and then also but don't let me run off, Doc. Did you have something on that?
No, not on that. Go ahead.
Got you. um when we talk about having the conversations, there may be alignment. Like I've never had a problem with um I ain't never had a problem attracting women, or women finding me attractive. And I'm not talking about from a physical standpoint, but who I am. And out of their mouths, they've complimented me on those things. But I have been the witness, like, there are certain aspects of me that tend to rub you the wrong way. And I've been very transparent about what I will do, what I won't do. Not that I won't, I'm just like, hey, I'm designed this way, or I function this way. And then after it happens, we can have the discussion. I'm like, yeah, no, this is why I move this way. I think this is important, or not important. Or if I shared something with you, no, you're not going to emotionally extort me by being like, well, then you ain't like, I'm not. Matter of fact, it's the biggest turnoff in the history of turnoffs. Um, and I had to address them, and I said, hey, this is not going to work long term. So you know, we might as well just chill out now. Um, and they, came back late, and I sat down. I said, you have any comments? What are your thoughts? This is why. Um, and I think I was very clear, and structured in the delivery of the conversation, and gave a deep explanation on the why, right? And gave examples. Hey, when this happened, remember how you responded. These were the things that you said. That wasn't just out of, flippantly. That's kind of where your core belief and ideal was in that. And then later they left and came back and was like, are you sure? And I had to tell them, I said, either you weren't listening, or you didn't care. And I said, neither one of those are acceptable. And that's exactly why I know we can't move forward. We can't move forward. And
I
this is what
think
I go
having
work all
the
the time.
self-awareness and the insight to know that this isn't going to work, but then acting on it is so important. Because I talk to people all the time that be like, yeah, I knew that wasn't gonna work, but I was just waiting for it to end, or I don't even know how we got here because we don't even. I mean, what I like is not him, and what he like is not me. I mean, I know people who've been married for years, and they will after the divorce, they'll say like, "Oh, I was never his type."
So, see, here's the thing. That's scary to me because what you chose to do was waste the most precious commodity that we all are given, and that's time. And you don't even know how much of it you have. You know, the sunk cost fallacy. That is a financial term. It's like when, let's say, some people would make an investment on a stock and it's dropping, but they like, I'm gonna hold on because I've invested so much. I'm just gonna wait to it. I'm gonna do everything, and they do it in relationships too. Let me see what I can do, what I can say, how I can change, how I can move to think that it'll turn and then shoot up, then you get your profit and your money back. And what happens is it doesn't happen that way. Once some and Maya Angelou said it, once someone shows you who they are, believe them. And
I
that's
think it's
real.
difficult though. Like people get stuck in this because I'm gonna tell you what happens. The first 6 months of the relationship, everybody is perfect. Everybody's on their P's and Q's. Everybody's meeting everybody's love language, and then we fall in love. So now we are 6 months in. We are madly in love, and the real you is coming out.
Cause that dopamine and what's the other chemical, Doc?
Serotonin. But what I'm
Serotonin start
saying
wearing
is,
off.
okay, but now we're 6 months in and we in love. And now all of these things about me you don't like. All these things about you I don't like. But what do people do? They say, well, I love them and we're gonna change and we're gonna work it out. And then they come to therapy. And I say, where y'all see this going?
Mm. Hard
Because
questions.
fundamentally, you don't like them.
Fundamentally, you don't like them.
Like I know you're in love right now, but like you don't like them. You like the idea of them. You like the first 6 months, the representative of them. But this person that is showing up with you to this session, you do not like them. What are we doing? Right? They don't listen. Years later, they like, oh, we got to break up, but I put so much time into this. I don't want to leave now. I'm scared to be alone. Will somebody else want me? That's how
Wow.
it goes. I don't think people go into relationships like, you're not really my type, but let's try this out. Like, I don't think that's it. I think the first 6 months, everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. Everybody's firing on all cylinders. You fall in love, and then it's like, oh, I don't really like this. I don't really like that, but I love him. Oh, I love him. And that's how people be getting stuck.
Man, how
I
do
see
you
it all the time.
because you're gonna run into some of those things. So how do you decipher what's worth over like looking past, and then the things that you really must treat like a
Deal breaker.
non-negotiable?
Yeah. So here's the thing. You have to know who you are to your core before getting into the relationship.
Say it again, Doc, one
You
more
have
time.
to know who you are at your core before getting into the relationship. If you don't know who you are before getting into the relationship, you will be whatever they want you to be.
Mm.
You out here watching baseball, you don't even know nothing about baseball. You keeping score on golf and don't even understand what a strike is. Like you just out here, right? So
Doc,
you
you
need
don't
to
know
have
about
it.
golf either, do you? Because she said you don't even
No.
know what a strike is. That's a baseball term. You out here
Okay,
watching baseball. That
exactly.
was good. No, it was just classic. That was nice.
Exactly.
That was nice.
So you got to know who you are so that you'll know what your deal breakers are. You don't know what you're looking for if you don't know you. You just want to be with somebody. And that thirst to just be with somebody
Mm,
leads you into a bad situation.
mm. Yeah, that's self-awareness, man. I don't think people understand, because it's work, Doc. It's work, and no one really likes to. I think people have a very hard time of looking in the mirror and really owning their bad and their ugly.
Mm-hmm.
We all love our good, but man, when we have to look at our bad and our ugly and admit it admit that, yeah, man, I got things I need to work on. I have traumas that affect the way that I handle people, treat people, how much emotion, how much transparency I can provide, how much trust I can give someone else, because that's a gift. And without it, I don't think really going into a relationship, like that's the worst thing you can do, because you're finna abuse yourself and someone else. Um, Mr. J. Giga said, so question, does love not conquer all?
So I have a very unique mindset, perspective, if you will, around that. I do not think that love conquers all. And I also do not think that love means access. I can love you and recognize that we are toxic together and we don't need to be together. That don't mean I don't love you.
Mm.
I just know that like when we together and we fighting and we like love the way you lie, like Eminem and Rihanna, that's not healthy. So does love conquer all? I don't think so.
Love is patient. It depends on what the definition.
I
Because
mean,
see,
you
here's another thing. Marriage and love are two different
two
things.
two totally different things.
People stop confusing them. And I'm gonna tell you something else. The concept and the foundation of marriage was never it
It
was
was
never
never love.
thank you. It was never engulfed or in romance. It wasn't about how you felt about a person. It was
Mm-mm.
strictly
Business.
business. Hear us clearly. Marriage was never developed. It was never a concept built around romance or feelings or attraction or any of the things that it is fundamentally and expected to encompass today. None of it. None of it. Marriages was about business. It was about powerful families or powerful people combining with other powerful people to make a larger, more powerful group. Because
Mhm.
if your daughter is married to my son, or my daughter is married to your son, then I will be less likely to attack you, do you wrong. And matter of fact, we're now we would come together to go against similar or common enemies. And then we would have another family member maybe marry another strong, and you make a strong unit. That was the purpose of marriage, is to combine yourself with someone who makes you stronger, whether that be financially, which and then back then militarily, from a military standpoint, and also just in numbers. Period. And I'm gonna be honest. I think you should always look at the origin of a thing and then go back to the origin of it to really get the benefits of it. Now, I think being attracted to your mate, um, being in alignment with the things that we're talking about tonight, like beliefs, values, effective communication, trustworthiness, um, self awareness, and then also, when we get down we like to get down. So if you're someone who likes to have peanut butter rubbed all over your body and popcorn thrown on it, and then it all eaten off, then you need to share that. Yeah, I like to hang from the rafters. I like to hang upside down. I like swings and toys and gadgets. You need to say that thing. Don't be embarrassed about it. You're who you are, but you need to say that, because if you get with someone who's very conservative and their favorite position is missionary every time, then I think there's going to be a problem that shows up. But all of those elements really had nothing to do with marriage. Now, if you're looking, and here's the irony: people will get married, but then they'll be in love with somebody else and be attracted to somebody else and go kick it with somebody else. And it was known. It probably wasn't open and out there, but it was known within that group. And there's some well documented stories with like presidents that we've had in the past. The wife understood. The wife even had her own thing going on with another woman,
Or
and
man.
and it, huh?
Or man.
Or man? No, I'm talking about a real president and a real president and his wife,
Same.
who were prominent. Not in our day, not in modern day. I would say per se, depending on what you would consider that. And these are real elements and real things. So you can sit here and try to dismiss it because it's not what you because you have cognitive dissonance or cognitive bias, and you like, well, that's what I've raised with, that's what I know, and I'm gonna stick with it. Stay the fool, then stay the fool, because somebody just gave you gave you the game. You can go research this. I'm not going to try to prove it to you. You prove me wrong. You go read, you go study, and then you come to perspective and tell me that I'm wrong. Then we can talk about it. But I think starting with that, thinking about that, and as you go forward, keeping that abreast of mind, it'll help you make better decisions.
I agree. I don't disagree at all.
Yeah. We
I don't
got
know
time
that
to.
we'll ever go back to that definition or that function of marriage. I think we may be a little too far gone for that. I think people with more money marry that way. I think that you know how people say old money or like old wealth?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they marry like that.
They did. But we
But
got
if
away
it's
from it.
but it I think they still do, quite frankly.
No, they
That's why
do.
they got old
And we
money.
gon'
That's
we
what I'm
keep
saying.
saying they do,
Right.
and even in these times,
Yeah,
because really
they still do.
the romance that got introduced into marriage was a ploy by the De Beers company, which was a diamond mining company. And they was like, we got too many diamonds. The market was low. Like diamonds weren't as like expensive and exclusive like they are now. And they're really not exclusive. There are vaults with millions and millions and tons of diamonds, but they control the market so much that they just let a few out, and they use marketing to boost it up. And they said, how do we sell more diamonds? They came up with the engagement ring. They came up with the wedding ring. They came up with the misnomer of the wedding ring needs to cost 3 months, the man's 3 months of the man's salary. Why
Mm,
was the man's salary? Because at that time, this was in the
women didn't work.
1930s, they didn't even work. So they said, we got to hustle. It's a hustle. Now, y'all just heard the truth. I ain't lying. Go research it. It's a hustle.
My
Now,
point
here's the
was to
go
your
ahead, Doc.
point. You said we should go back to the origin. I think that that is a luxury and a privilege that I'm not sure that people that look like us have. I think that old money has that because there are old money circles that we know nothing about that we can't get into. So the old money just keeps circulating. I think our best bet is to get with somebody that you love and can tolerate and then try to create old or create new money for your
Oh no,
lineage.
we on the same page then. Yeah, because what I mean by that is stop basing your decisions solely solely on feelings, on feelings, and like someone in like now. I mean, we just exposed a few truths. So it ain't really about the ring, and it ain't and it ain't about gold digging. That's not what I'm talking about. Like we're only married to do with the money. No, get with somebody that you know that you're a plus to them, they're a plus to you, and then y'all can expand and grow together. Matter of fact, those things brings the romance, that brings the trust, that brings the commitment, that brings and invites and fosters the effective communication. Now I'm talking about something I got to sit, and I've been favored to be in certain people's arena in their lives when they got married early. Been around to see it manifest and grow. My grandparents were married forever. I just, I've been favored to witness these things. I've seen a married couple. They got married right in college, and I've seen them together just grind and build a company. Um, to a status that I just sit back and be like, y'all cold. Y'all cold with it. I seen them operate with love, but be business partners in that manner. I'm like, oh, that's how it works. I was like, that's good. I see the favor they get from a spiritual standpoint because they function in the way that I think it was truly meant. You know what I mean? Mr. J.
I'm
Gill, you
so,
said,
I'm
and
so done with you.
talk about it, Doc. And he got the spatulas. He got the
Don't
no,
you
no,
entertain this?
no. Why put that back up there? We didn't get to
No.
read it. He said, and bring the kinky peanut. No, you ain't for. He said, well, that's kinky right there, Doc. No.
We have moved on, sir.
Oh,
We
oh,
are
come on,
we
man.
down here.
And
Now
bring the
keep out.
kinky peanut butter and
Listen.
popcorn.
Listen.
Yeah. Come
I'm not
on,
gonna
man.
play with
Doc,
him
don't do
or
him like
you.
that. Come on now. So that's a no?
It's a none of perspectives business,
Is
is
another.
what it is.
That's a yes, Chef. That's a yes, man. That's all right. People all in your business. They know what's going on. I'ma just, man, I don't know. I'm gonna
I'm
find a
not
way.
gonna
I'm gonna find a way to high side somehow. Um, what you talking about, Jeff? He said, say,
you was talking about the diamonds when he said that.
oh
And
yeah,
the
that's
freeze
true. That's
company.
true. That's true. That's true, brother. Research it. Let's talk about it. He said, and bring the. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
See?
bring that one back up. He said, I could.
Okay, because why does it always have to turn into perspective after dark? Why does it? I mean, every time it's got to be perspective after dark. I'm not gonna play with
Oh man, Jeff, wow,
y'all. Okay,
that's my
let's
partner right there.
we about to wrap this thing up because
Yeah,
5 a.m.
yeah,
is
we are
so
at the
early
end.
in the
Look,
morning. All right,
oh
what's
man,
your final thoughts?
my final thought is
And
that
plug anything that you have coming up.
I got you. The thing that I would definitely want to highlight is that Doc said it best. He says one of the most important things before you can make all these decisions, before you can really apply some of the things that we've talked about, and really register the truth that's been shared and the transparency in it, you really have to know yourself first. So understanding where your strengths lie, your areas of improvement are, your good, your bad, and your ugly. Once you really own that, take a look in the mirror, know what you need to improve upon, analyze some of your past relationships, the good ones, the bad ones, the all in between. At that point, you can really start making a move of asking the right questions and being able to accept the answers, and then being able to receive the questions and give the best answers by being very self-aware. So definitely take the time to do that. If you don't know how to do that, hey man, you got somebody that's on the screen right now that can help you with those things, and that's not a small thing. Definitely take the step. If it's not Doc, if it's not Latoya the therapist, then it needs to be some other counselor or therapist that has some experience in that.
Okay, let me hit these comments.
Okay, let's do
He
it.
said, "Cause it's dark outside. I'm
Boom,
not. I have
boom,
nothing. My
facts.
final thoughts. Let's see. Before you enter into marriage, consider that this is a lifelong commitment. Is this something
Mhm.
that you can handle today? Sure, it seems fun, it's new, it's exciting, but is this something that you can do for life? Is this a relationship that you want to be in forever? Is this a type of relationship you want your children to see? These are the things that you have to think about. I always tell women what you tolerate as a girlfriend is what you'll argue about as a wife. They're not changing when you get married. So have the hard conversations now so the change and whatever needs to happen can happen now. Those will be my final thoughts. To keep up with Latoya the Therapist, you can find me at LatoyaTheTherapist.com. You can find me on Insta at Latoya the Therapist. You can listen to Say More About That on all streaming platforms. Also, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, tell a friend, and tell a friend because the replay is still good
Yeah,
and we'll be around. Be
yeah.
sure to follow BS3 Network on all the platforms, and we'll be streaming on Roku TV because we are somebody. Tap
Somebody.
in, tune in, be with us, tell a friend, and we out.
Absolutely.